Muslims claim that there's only one Quran, memorized word for word, uncorrupted and untouched. This claim is often stated by Muslim scholars and teachers.
The Quran has been preserved, we believe, since the time of the Prophet till now, word for word, letter for letter, haraka or vowel sign for vowel sign.
There has never been two copies of the Quran that are different even in one letter or one word.
So we believe in that one Quran, memorized letter by letter, word by word.
Now, to be clear, this discussion is not about English translations. We are dealing directly with the Arabic Quran itself. More importantly, we are not talking about the harmless dialect or pronunciation differences. We are talking about different Arabic words that carry different meanings, like contradicting statements, and in some cases produce different theological and legal conclusions. This distinction is crucial because if the Quran was truly preserved word for word, these differences honestly should not exist. Before examining the specific examples, one basic fact we must acknowledge: the Muslim world itself recognizes multiple Quranic readings. Islam does not transmit the Quran through a single textual form, but through a system of canonical qira'ats such as Hafs, Warsh, Juri, and others, each with its own written text and recitation. Muslims openly teach in Islamic institutions and affirmed by Muslim scholars that the existence of these different Qurans is therefore not a claim made by critics of Islam, but transmitted by Muslims themselves. Now, when we jump to chapter 37, verse 12 in the Quran, it says, "In fact, you are astonished by their denial, while they ridicule you." In this version, Allah is addressing Muhammad, telling him that he was astonished by the disbelief of people. We read in another version of the Quran where it says, "In fact, I was astonished by their denial while they ridicule you." Now in this version, the speaker is no longer Muhammad. So the question must be asked, was Muhammad astonished or was Allah astonished? This cannot be dismissed as a dialect or a pronunciation issue because the difference does not depend on grammar or semantic. A clear, direct contradiction, because if the Quran was preserved perfectly word for word, this kind of contradiction would not exist. Now we see the same thing, but worse, in chapter 2 verse 184. If we read the context of chapter 2 verse 184 in the Quran, chapter 2 verse 184 instructs Muslims on what to do if they miss a day of fasting during Ramadan. If you are a Muslim reading the Hafs Quran, the ruling is clear. If you miss a fast, you feed one poor person to recover that day. However, in the Warsh Quran, the ruling changes. If you miss a fast, you must feed more than one person. These are not the same command. This is not a dialect issue, it is a change of Islamic law. This creates an unavoidable problem. A Muslim living in the region that uses the Hafs Quran is obligated to feed one poor person, while a Muslim living in a region that uses the Warsh Quran is obligated to feed multiple people to recover one fast day. So which ruling came from Allah? If Allah revealed one single perfectly preserved Quran, His legal commands would not change based on geography. So in conclusion, if I miss a fasting day as a Muslim, do I feed one person to recover that day, or do I have to feed more than one person to recover that day? Depending on what Quran you have to do. Next we have chapter 12 verse 90. They said, "Are you indeed Joseph?" So remember, he asked in the Hafs version of the Quran, "Are you Joseph?" Now if we jump to chapter 12 verse 90 in the Quran version, Ibn Kathir's, it says, "They said, indeed you are Joseph." Remember, these are not two different moments. These are the exact moment, not two different moments. And we got one version that isn't sure if that's Joseph, and we have another version knowing that's Joseph. A complete contradiction. There are even Muslim scholars who prefer the Hafs version and say the other one is wrong. Muslims would have to show, which one is it? Were they surprised that this was Joseph, or did they know that this was Joseph? Depending on what Quran you have, you're going to get different answers. Now, our last verse in the Quran for today, we're going to show you that an Arabic word is completely missing in the Quran. Now, in the Hafs version of the Quran, those who are stingy and who command people to be stingy, whoever turns away, then indeed Allah is the self-sufficient, the praiseworthy. Now, if we read the Warsh version, it says, "Those who are stingy and command people to be stingy, whoever turns away, then indeed Allah is self-sufficient and praiseworthy." The Arabic word here is absent compared to the Hafs version. The Warsh version takes this Arabic word away. We can see that the word is completely gone. Now, which one is from Allah? We see that the Quran falls flat when it comes to perfect preservation. where we see tons of Qurans that differ with each other, and not just by dialect but by context that lead to contradictions with each other. This makes me laugh because Muslims would say the Bible has updates. It's funny because the Quran also has updates. So we see the Quran is not just one perfectly preserved book, and a book that we can argue and say it's preserved but not perfectly preserved. In the name of the Father, Son, Holy Spirit, they want you God, and peace.